I'd like to welcome you to this edition of EMU Today TV. Yeah, we're closing in on another end of an academic year. It's hard to believe, hard to believe. And by the way, to you Eagles graduating soon, congratulations. You did it. You did it. And my name is Marquez Lee. I'm your host for EMU Today TV. And we are so pleased to welcome the Dr. Brendan B. Kelly. He's the 24th president of our great institution of Eastern Michigan University. And we're going to unpack a few things over the next few moments with him. So first of all, Dr. Kelly, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to Eastern Michigan University.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. So as we get started, I just want to start with a very basic question from where did you come from? Very basically, where did you come from most recently?
Most recently from Little Rock, Arkansas, where I served as the president of the Arkansas State University system. So I oversaw 7 institutions in that role. But before that, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, and Ypsilanti before we moved to Florida.
And you are a 2-time EMU graduate, and you're a native of Flint, Michigan. So welcome home, right?
Yes, it is. And it feels like that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. What excites you most about leading Eastern Michigan University? What's the excitement level, and what are you looking forward to doing here?
Well, I'll tell you, what excites me is the opportunity to represent this institution in our home state. Higher education is a really, really hard business right now. And EMU is not without its challenges. But if you're going to be in a really hard business anywhere, why not do it at the institution that means the most to you and in the state that made you? And for Tressa and I, my wife, who's also a 2-time alum, coming back here to serve this institution, and most importantly, serve the students of this institution, that's the work that matters most to us.
And, I'm a fellow alum as well. And I will say, Dr. Kelly, there's a lot of excitement. Obviously, you've been engaging with the students and the faculty and the staff. You've been all over the place and everything. Talk about that experience for you, just engaging with the students since you've been back.
That's the good stuff. Yeah, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of students since I've been back and spent a lot of hours and evenings, and some of those are formal encounters, many of them are chance encounters. This presidency is just different because the students that we're in service to, I was them, and I was them here. And one of the students said to me the other day, we were talking about this very same subject, and she said, "It's so interesting to talk to you because it's like we have a shared culture." And you and I as alumni, like, we can appreciate that because there are elements of a shared experience that does craft a shared culture. But to share that with students when you're sitting as a university president is a remarkable thing and a real honor and privilege, and creates this wonderful sense of connectedness that just makes me more optimistic all the time. And it makes me want to serve them in a more dedicated and rich fashion, maybe than I've ever felt in my career.
And let's take that point. Let's take that point a little bit further. So you started April 1st. You're just completing your very first month. You've been talking to a lot of students as you've referenced. So share with us what have you learned in your first 30 days, and what's been a nice surprise for you as well as you've gone through this initial 30-day process?
What's been a nice surprise? The fact that coming back to a place that we knew felt right and connected and intimate, and like there was a community here that was welcoming us back. I don't think anybody is unfamiliar with the challenges that we're facing as a university, and but when you have people who are willing to dive into those challenges with you, it is heartening. And that's been a wonderful surprise. The number of passionate alumni and employees and community leaders who want so desperately for us to be successful, this place to be successful, and most importantly, the students that it's in service to be successful, has been a really enriching experience to come into.
And as you talk about success, a lot of times we talk about success in terms of graduation rates and things of that
Mm-hmm.
sort. And people obviously graduating, matriculating, and getting jobs. How would you define success? I mean, I've heard you speak, I've seen other interviews with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Talk about that success from your perspective beyond the success rate, the graduation rates, for example.
Yeah, they're all interconnected. Look at the economy of the university has to be successful. We have to be providing as much opportunity as possible. Those opportunities have to be uh, life affirming. And when I say life affirming, I mean, when somebody comes into an institution like ours, they're coming in with the expectation that their toolbox is going to be filled by the people who are surrounding them, people just pouring into them for all of the years that we're here in all different types of ways. And for us to be successful, it can't just be about enrollment and graduation. Those are two key factors. They are key factors. People earning credentials of value in America is what expands economies. In the same moment, we have to equip people for their lives. We have to give them their next step and attach that to their next opportunity outside of the university. We have to be making certain that undergraduate students have all kinds of internships and externships, and that those are essential parts of their experience. Because if they graduate and they don't have those pieces, then I feel like we've come up short. We have to make sure that they're engaged, that there's social networks being built around them and professional networks, and they're part of something. And we discount how important those experiences are. And I say that I obviously came just like my spouse did to EMU to be part of EMU Forensics, which has been our most successful team since the 70s. And I wanted to go and win national championships, and this was the place to do it. But I was over in the police department a week or so ago and talking to one of our students who works there, and she's in the band. Well, she loves the marching band. A key component of her being at EMU is that marching band. The culture built around her in that marching band is so important to her experience at this university. And then I was chatting with one of our officers who happened to be her father. And he was in the marching band, and his wife was in the marching band, and they met in the marching band. And last homecoming, I think, mom, dad, and daughter all marched together because that was part of the tradition of marching band.
Yeah.
And when we talk about graduation, we can't forget that the foundation of our lives is often built at a university. And for many of us, the foundations for our lives was built at Eastern Michigan University. And those types of experiences are so important to that planting seeds for success in many dimensions of people's lives. So when we look at the total experience of this university, I want to make sure that we take all of those elements into consideration and build the experience of being a student here around an experience that addresses each of those dimensions.
And as we take it, and I think you're spot on. And EMU, I'm a long time alum. There is a strong affinity towards Eastern Michigan with other alumni, like myself. And I was born and raised in Detroit, and there's so many people who just love our university. And which leads me to my next question. In terms of the educational experience, education is the fundamental part of it, is aligning our students with the shifting nature of the workforce. We know that technology is emerging. We know that AI is emerging. What steps in your vision do you see of making sure that the university is properly aligned to shifting dynamics of the workforce?
Yeah, it's a critical issue for us, and that's going to be a critical issue always. I think university curriculums have to be dynamic. We have to adjust to a changing world, and the world is changing faster than it ever has. Uh, it is really important for a public university like Eastern Michigan to be connected to employers throughout this region and this state, and not so that they can be aware of what we offer. That's the wrong conversation. The conversation should be, what problem can we help you solve? Because the product of Eastern Michigan University from an employer perspective is the student, right? It's talent, and talent helps them solve a problem. But the way in which we prepare that talent matters a lot to that employer. Because if we, for instance, train nurses that could be alone on the floor doing more complex things quicker than nurses from other universities because of the way we train them aligned with a particular hospital system. Everybody wins in that regard. Our nursing graduates are in higher demand. Hospitals get a chance to be more efficient and effective. And we have a chance to have a partnership that continues to bear fruit for both organizations. And that type of interdependence between university and employer, I believe, is the future of higher education in America, and certainly an essential component for what we need to be doing right now to be successful.
We have a couple minutes remaining. I still want to ask a couple of brief questions. One is as it relates to aligning Ypsilanti, Detroit, the entire state of Michigan, right? And as it relates to Eastern Michigan University, talk about the importance of the entire region, the entire state to our future. And also, incumbent in that question is your leadership style. How do you reach out? How do you begin to engage these great cities that we have across the state of Michigan under your leadership?
Yeah, it's a great question. One, you can't just be in a community; you have to be part of it. So I very proactively reach out to leaders. I want to be engaged in really honest conversation. I want to get to know and already have spent time with superintendents of school districts, both because that's a pipeline into the university. We're also providing educators and administrators to those school districts. We have shared missions. I want to be engaged with hospital presidents and administrators and other large employers. And that's true for cities too. It's making certain that the mayors and people in positions like mine are connected, because this is how we can chase after opportunity. That's the critical intersection. Nobody can really be successful in any of those positions without depending on other organizations to feed them in one way or another. And the name of the game for us is going to be, let's be proactive. Mm-hmm. Let's us make sure that we're calling them rather than waiting for them to call us.
And finally, here we are 1 year from today, end of April, right? And we're looking back on your first year of your leadership. What are you hoping people are saying 1 year from now? What are you hoping happened in the last 4 months?
That there is a distinctive change in the tenor, tone, and energy of this campus. And it's one that people are yearning to be a part of, regardless of whether you're an alum or a neighbor, a prospective student, a current student, an employee. If we can get to that space where we put ourselves into a position where there is demand to be part of this institution, then I'd be so pleased and proud of what we'd accomplished over that time period.
Well, President Kelly, I want to thank you very much. I know you're busy. I know you're in demand. I'm so pleased to have this conversation with you. This interview goes across all the alumni base, across our great state and beyond. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to certainly join us this afternoon. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Recently, there was the Eagle Regatta, which is something that's been going on since the 70s. And I know President Kelly was there. I want you to take a minute and a half and enjoy this video. And on the other side, we're going to continue this conversation in this edition of EMU Today TV.
Hi everybody, we're so glad that you're here today at Eagle Regatta. We're building on an old-time tradition from the 70s here at University Park Lake House. I am rooting for this team right here.
I'm rooting for Team YBBW.
I'm racing the SS Trembolone.
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them.
It'll be great. Sink or swim, we'll find out what happens.
The more you decide to show up, the more college looks like this. So let's go do something awesome today.
Captain of all or nothing. Me and my teammates made a really solid boat. I think the race went really well. We took on some water. I did fall out of the boat, and it's a great day to be an Eagle.
All right, that regatta, we had a good time, didn't it? It reminded me of my days back in college. Hope you enjoyed the video. And we're going to continue the conversation with Dean Ryan Gildersleeve, and he's the Dean of the College of Education. He's going to share with us some good news in terms of what's happening over at that college. And we are so pleased to welcome you. Dean, thank you very much for joining me, Ryan. How you doing?
Thanks for having me, Mark. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So some great news as it relates to the College of Education. You continue to grow and getting national recognition. Let's talk about what's happening in terms of the progression the college is taking.
Indeed, I'm thrilled to share with everybody that U.S. News and World Report's annual rankings of the best colleges of education have come out. And the College of Ed here at Eastern Michigan University is now ranked 84th. That is the first time that we have jumped into the top 100, which is sort of the coveted section of the rankings. And it's an increase of 86 spots over where we've been in the last couple of years. So we're quite proud of this.
Well, congratulations. You should be very proud of that. EMU has been a long time national leader in terms of the education space. And in fact, I know we have a lot of graduates who certainly stay in Michigan and take the next step here in terms of the teaching at schools and other parts of this curriculum. Talk about that.
Indeed, we currently still have more alumni from Eastern Michigan University working and teaching across Michigan's public institutions, public schools, and districts than any other ed prep provider in the state. We're really proud of that. In fact, our ranking in U.S. News and World Report makes us number 3 in terms of these reputational rankings overall, behind only the University of Michigan and Michigan State University, which therefore means we are number 1 of all of the regional campuses and colleges of education in the state. So really exciting stuff all around. I think it's really a tribute to all the hard work that our staff, our faculty, and the important work that our alumni go out and continue to do here from the College of Education, particularly over these last few years where we've been realigning, clarifying our vision of who we are, what makes us distinctive, and then really doubling down on what makes us us and sharing the word about that.
And that was kind of that's a nice lead into my next question. I think you said Eastern jumped some 86 spots. Is that correct? Was it 80?
Yes.
80, okay. So talk to us about why? I mean, what's the why behind that big jump? What exactly have you been doing, not you in particular, but the College of Education has been doing to drive that growth, to drive that acknowledgement that you're getting from this esteemed publication?
I love that question because we, in fact, did not have the rankings on our radar as any sort of objective or goal for ourselves. What we did set out in the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years was to really emphasize and amplify the impact that we have in education across the state of Michigan. Again, primarily by aligning our resources so that the talents of our faculty could be met with the passions of our students. And specifically, I'm talking about initiatives like the Workshop for Collaboration and Community, which is a project championed by Dr. Christopher Robbins out of our teacher education department, where we've got students and faculty members and community organizations coming together to collaborate on how to identify critical issues facing the Washtenaw County and Southeast Michigan communities, and then jointly coming up with solutions together, and then pursuing those solutions. Everything that happens adjacent to schools that relates to students' learning and their trajectories. Dr. Robbins would say they focus on everything between home and school that implicates students' lives and learning trajectories. And it's a really awesome project. Things like that, I think, are helping to spread the word of what we have going on here at the College of Education, how we take a holistic approach to preparing future educators who recognize the importance and value of families and communities in students' schooling and learning, and what it means to be coming out of the best educator preparation program in the state.
And when you talk about, it sounds like you're talking about engagement. Engagement is a major part of this level of success. You're engaging students, you're engaging parents, you're engaging the communities. And when you think about that level of engagement, what are the communities saying about our program? So in other words, as you're talking to principals, as you're talking to the various schools, what are they saying about Eastern's program, College of Education?
I love that you're bringing this up, because the secret to our success in almost anything that we do in the College of Education is related to our community partnerships. And we strive to be the most community engaged school of education in the state of Michigan. And I think arguably today we are, and this jump in the rankings is a reflection of that. Our partnerships with school districts like Ypsilanti Community Schools, Lincoln Consolidated Schools, Ann Arbor Public Schools, but even broadly the Washtenaw Intermediate School District and all 9 school districts in the county, they really are what propel us forward and amplify the impact that our students and our faculty and our staff can have day in and day out. Specifically, things like our paraprofessional to special educator workforce partnerships that we have going on with both the WISD here in Washtenaw, as well as Wayne RESA, the Wayne County Regional Educational Service Agency, serving all 35, I believe, districts in Wayne County. Each county has a partnership with us to prepare para-educators and certify them as special educators, which is one of the highest need areas in education across Michigan. That's just one example of the ways in which our partnerships are really vital to our success, but also how we're vital to our community's successes. As my colleague and friend at Ypsilanti Community School says, Superintendent Dr. Alina Zachary Ross, we are stronger together. And that, I think, is felt and palpable within our own hallways, but also in the school hallways that we have students doing their practicum or student teaching, or we have faculty engaging in professional learning, or where we're engaging in advisory groups and learning about ourselves and each other. And it's just really exciting. And again, we couldn't do it without our partners, especially those most proximal to us here in the Southeast Michigan region.
I love that statement, power together. That is awesome. Powers, power in numbers. That's phenomenal. But let's also, as we look ahead and think about it, think about the challenges. Let's have a candid conversation looking ahead from your perspective as the dean. What are the challenges that we're currently facing in the College of Education, and pull the lens back in education in general?
I mean, in general, we know that there's a massive teacher shortage across the state of Michigan, particularly in low-income neighborhoods, in historically marginalized communities across the state, in rural communities across the state, and especially in areas like science, technology, engineering, and math, but also in special education. These are the areas that we've got great strengths between our awesome special education program area, as well as our STEM Ed Institute here in the College of Education. And that's in partnership with Toyota, who has been a partner from day one on the STEM Ed Institute, so that we can create more industry-aligned learning opportunities to strengthen STEM education across the state of Michigan broadly. We do a lot of work there through our Driving Possibilities partnership with Ypsilanti and with Lincoln Schools and the WISD. But then in our special education space, the challenges that they're helping to meet are the shortages in special educators all across the state. For us, we also have challenges for enrollment. There are fewer students all across Michigan for all of our universities to be vying for. We have struggled here at EMU with enrollment over the past 10 years. I'm really excited for a lot of the changes that President Kelly, our new president, has been talking about. Some of them are paradigmatic changes that we've been working toward here in the College of Ed for the last few years, especially around making sure that we make it as easy and seamless as possible for our students to have immersive learning experiences tied to communities and industries, and that we make it as seamless as possible for them to succeed through their time with us at EMU. Those are challenges that we're facing in the college. We're trying to face them head on and do what we can to shore up how we support our students, and do what we can to make sure that our programs are as relevant as ever to be as recruiting as many students as possible, including in our workforce partnerships, which I'd be happy to share more about.
Well, you talk about something that's very important. I was going to get to is that alignment, if you will, the changing marketplace, the changing dynamics of education. How are we keeping our students relevant and trained, or for lack of a better word, educated in a changing marketplace such as education?
It's really about that immersive educational experience that I referenced before. We make sure that our students are in the field from their very first class with us. And we more than meet the state requirements, because as you know, educator preparation is a highly regulated degree or major of study. We have a lot of state standards that we need to meet from the Michigan Department of Education, but we exceed the standards for how many clinical hours, that would be hours that students spend hands-on learning in schools, in classrooms, in out-of-classroom learning environments, where they can get real-life experience supporting and facilitating human development and learning activities with young people, with youth, and with adults. So we have those spread throughout the curriculum of every single one of our educator preparation programs. Our students don't have to wait until their student teaching internship to get that real world experience. By the time they're at that internship year for student teaching, they've already amassed the same number of hours that they're going to spend in those full-time student teaching internships. So it's just the excitement of getting to do it full time for them when they reach that point. Not nearly as much of the anxieties of, oh my God, I'm going into a classroom, because they've been in classrooms. They've been working with young people. They've been working with families. They've been working with communities. And that, I think, is really key in terms of how we're designing our students' experience. The other key point, Mark, is that we're making sure to meet the market of where are there students that perhaps we haven't thought about there being students before. People who have great skills and talent and passion that is perfect for becoming a certified teacher, whether it be in STEM or in special education or in elementary or early childhood education. And this is taking shape in our workforce partnerships. I talked about our paraprofessionals program before. We also have a new program where early childhood educators who don't yet have their certification can earn their certification with us online while they continue to work full time in early childhood centers. And this is huge. This is a game changer. We're going to be making it available statewide in the next year and a half or so. Right now, we're piloting this program with our awesome partners at Washtenaw Intermediate School District. But the way that they can earn while they learn is really transforming what the preparation of early childhood educators in Michigan is going to look like.
I'm going to have to leave it there. We're up against the clock. And I just want to again applaud you under your leadership, the College of Education, continuing to do great things. Congratulations for all the great work that you and your team are doing.
Thanks, Mark. It takes a whole village here because we are stronger together between our faculty, staff, students, and our community partners. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. We want to thank you all for tuning in to this edition of EMU Today TV. Again, to all of our new graduates, congratulations, job well done. And we will check you out next time on EMU Today TV.